Hey everyone, I'm George Savaricas,
And I'm Harold Varner.
and we're the co-host of Rippin It. Before we start this week's episode, we want to give a shout out to a couple of our very special sponsors. Harold, this is the ultimate backyard game, especially if you're a golfer. Chippo. I've played it with buddies. It is the perfect game when you're outside just enjoying the summer.
Yeah, it's going to be fun for obviously my kids soon and obviously for adult beverages.
Nothing better than to have a few of those on the line as you're making some bets with buddies. If you want to get your own Chippo, we have the special promo code Ripping It for 15% off. Go to chippogolf.com. Harold, I know I personally suck at putting and couldn't be more excited to put the perfect practice to use. I know there are a number of guys on tour have used it.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool thing. Obviously, I think everyone has it in their house. It's a really cool thing to just get people, obviously I love gambling on it. There's no gambling at Bushwood, but it's a great fun feature of the household.
The perfect practice is a need if you're just starting at golf, recreational guy like myself, even for pros on the PGA Tour. We have a special promo code to get you 15% off. It's Ripping It. Go to perfectpractice.golf to get yours today. Folks, thank you for joining us. I'm George Savaricas.
Harold Varner.
Show is called Rippin' It. We're partnering with Bro Bible. It is finally time to press go. George Savaricas alongside Harold Varner III. Hello and welcome into episode number 10 now of Rippin' It. George Savaricas with HV3 coming off a major week. They say often that there's a major hangover from a major week, but I know, Harold, you and I both had long weeks. I was doing play-by-play for ESPN Plus. I actually had Brooks Koepka and Phil Mickelson. So I was on the call watching Lefty march towards his sixth major. You were actually in the trenches for 72 holes at Kiawah Island on the ocean course. Before we talk about what Mickelson did at 50, which is absolutely incredible, your biggest takeaway from your week at the ocean course?
I mean, obviously the hospitality was unbelievable. I guess this is the first major, I guess, where it's been pretty wide open today. I had a few fans at Augusta, so
no, but this was the first one where it started feeling like you could hear the roars again, and
so it was awesome. It was great. It was close to home. Just a long walk, man. I'm pretty beat right now. So just trying to regroup. It was tough. It was just there's a lot of shots where you're like, all right, if I don't hit this one good, it's sayonara. So it was great. I enjoy playing close to home. Like, I mean, it's only three and a half hours away. Had a great time. Stayed at a guy that's on our boards, couple up the street, stayed at their house in Kiawah, and we had a good time. They have two kids that are 20 and 18, and they came down. It was just pretty funny just to hang with them. It was good.
Was it more of a grind physically or mentally when you're facing a layout like that in an environment like that?
I don't know. My allergies were really bad. So on Sunday, I had the worst headache ever, like right in my forehead. So I don't know if that made me more tired, but I just didn't think the allergies were that bad. And then all of a sudden it was just like, I don't know. It hurt so bad. So I think it was a little bit of both. I mean, we're walking. It's not like it took forever to play. That part was terrible. I mean, it's just the course is so hard, so it's just hard to sit there and be like, we're going to get around there in 4 hours. So just it's pretty cool to just see, Phil talking about focusing. Yeah, it was pretty hard to focus just for that long. So I thought that was pretty. It got a little bit better when we got to twosomes, which was, but we still waited. I mean, when do you ever wait in twosomes?
It's crazy. For sure. But I mean, it makes sense with just how that course is laid out, especially the 17th being the toughest hole on the course. That's got to be the only layout I've seen where a par 3 is the hardest hole, and that was every day.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me either there or I would think 17 at PGA National would be up there as well, but that place is a nightmare. Yeah, it was It was hard. I mean, just the prevailing wind, the first 3 days just made it so tough. But it played more, obviously you could tell by the scores on the last day, just played a little bit more fair. Like felt like you could get some more opportunities. So yeah, it was good. I'm just I wish I would have played better, obviously, but wasn't lack of effort. How was commentating at home?
It was actually kind of badass.
Really?
ESPN sent the at-home studio setup, and then it was like really early because I did the kickoff coverage on Thursday. So Michael Collins, we had him on our like pregame show as me, Scott Verplank, Ned Michaels, but had to be up at 5:15 a.m. Was checking in at 6 a.m. on air 7 a.m. to 7 p.m.
Oh my gosh!
With an 8-minute break in between the morning and afternoon wave. But we had Mickelson Thursday, Saturday, Sunday. So basically Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, I was doing in essence doubles. Friday, I did a half shift. But getting to do featured group, which was such a neat experience because all we did was watch on Sunday, Phil and Brooks, all 18 holes, every shot, and you're listening into the player caddy conversations. So as a commentator, I mean, you're watching the entirety of the round, every moment basically. And as a viewer, it's rare that you get to see the final group and actually hear all those discussions as they're getting ready to execute shots instead of cutting from Harold nearly having a hole-in-one on the front nine and then cutting to a different shot. You're actually getting all the build-up conversations on those guys talking through, okay, what club am I pulling? What's the hurt here? Where am I starting this? So that part was pretty neat.
I mean, it's the course to have. There's a lot of conversation on that course.
Oh, for sure. There's a ton of conversation. It seemed like almost every shot you would hear 15 to 30 seconds worth of chat before a guy would pull a club.
I mean, good on them because by the time they get done chatting, my ball's already in the air. I hit it already.
What was the buzz like as Phil got off to the start and then Thursday, Friday is the co-leader?
So, which was weird. I left. So I finished at 3 something, and I just got my car, left, whatever, and I was driving home.
Left is in Sunday.
Yeah. I don't know, man. There was just people yelling the whole time. I don't know. It seemed pretty normal to me. It felt pretty good to just hear people yelling. Phil's obviously a favorite, so it's just like. I mean, he could be shooting 100 and people are like, Phil, whatever. So I didn't think it was out of the norm. I've played with him at the Wells Fargo, so I kind of knew what that would be like. So it's just kind of weird because they had around the putting green, it was so far away. So it's like, it was good for the players, but it's so windy. It's hard to even hear people in general. You could be standing next to someone and it'd be hard to talk to them, have a normal conversation. So, I mean, I'm sure it was pretty cool. I just wish I would have got to see it live, watch it happen. I only saw what was on social media when I got home. And so that kind of sucked, actually.
What about, I mean, he posts 5 under Friday early. Any chatter on property, on the range, looking at leaderboards, talking about it. I mean, it was a crazy story to have a 50-year-old leading a major, and then he was in that spot all 4 days. So you could tell Saturday into Sunday that, I mean, he and Brooks were going to be basically going toe to toe.
So I teed off so early that, I wasn't there. I teed off at 8:20 on Saturday, and then we were opposite waves on Thursday and Friday. So, I mean, I don't know. When I'm telling you the wind was blowing that much, you really didn't. I didn't talk to anyone on the range. I mean,
got it.
It was it's just not ideal for just talking. And in those situations when it's that hard, I like talking, but I don't really want
to say you're
I'm trying to figure out how am I going to, because the goal is just to get off to a good start when the prevailing wind, number one turns in I hit 3-iron the last day, and the first 2 days, you're hitting driver, so it's just a different ball game. You just want to be prepared to freaking play well. And I knew I had to play well, and I freaking came out of the gates good on Friday, and then just didn't. Those last 4 or 5 holes, man, insane. So I'm sure there was some buzz. I literally was not around him. And then when the chance I had to be around, like at the end, I left to go home because, I was home right after it finished. I got home at like 8:00 or something like that. So it was really cool to see. The craziest part is like when Tiger won, I cried. When Phil won, it was like, I just keep getting goosebumps. Like I woke up this morning, I'm like, that guy's old as fuck, and he just won. So it's just I saw someone tweet last night. I said, which wins better, Tiger or Phil? And I just think that's so shit. Like, it's just totally different. Obviously the field is way stronger at the PGA. I think both of them have their own, one's battling injuries, one's been good forever. And I think those two have made our game where I can make a lot of money and make a living. So I respect both of them for how they go about it. They've been nothing but professional on the golf course to where we, my generation reaps the rewards.
100%. And those are the two guys who move the needle the most in professional golf. Tiger is in his own stratosphere. I think if you're really getting into the debate with Tiger's injuries, that's the more amazing story. And just the Tigers played golf at the highest level we've ever seen. But the scenes were so similar on 18 with Phil walking up the fairway and getting engulfed and Tiger at the Tour Championship. I mean, if you put the side by side, they almost look identical.
Yeah, I saw a few of those. I thought it was so cool. I just think that in this world we live in, if you ask me that question and I say Tiger, they'll say I have a narrative. Like that's what happened. It actually happened.
No, I get it.
I just think I think it's so funny. And
they're both amazing moments.
I wanted to clear the air. Like, I mean, I'm sure like when Jack won in 86, it was like insane. But to me, something that would have beat all that was if Tom Watson would have beat Stuart Singh.
Yeah, that would have been the best.
So I sit here and I'm like, I want to like comment and be like, yeah, it's Tiger because I cried. I mean, that's the reason I play golf.
I got you.
But both of them are just in their different way. I mean, it was definitely harder to win the PGA. Like no one's arguing that, but like I just don't want to sit here and debate on two people that have literally changed my life. That sounds so stupid. Hey man, thanks Tiger. You're the reason I play golf. Phil, thanks for. I mean, Phil gave me a putting lesson. Didn't have to. Called me and he like, hey, work on this, blah blah. So like, both of them have been involved in my life, and I'm super thankful for it.
What was the putting lesson? How did that come about?
He told me to. Well, we played together in the Wells Fargo, and he told me to put some loft on my putter, and it just made a huge difference. So I always play with like 4 degrees of loft on my putter because I play a little forward press. So both of them take the time to give me advice, and whether they win again or not, I don't really give a shit. They've won a lot already. They don't have anything else to prove, and that's what I'm tired of in sports in general. Is that like no matter what someone does, they always have to prove something else, and I just don't get that. I mean, the guy's won 50 times. He won, like, hey man, same thing with Tiger. He's won 100 times, and he's over here like battling. Almost died, and we're like worried about is he gonna play golf again? Like, shut up, dude. He changed the game. Like, just shut up.
Well, of course, you want to be worried about his health first, but the other part of it is, like Phil said on, I saw in live from last night that he's intrinsically motivated. So a lot of it is he's pushing himself. He doesn't have anything to prove except to himself.
Yeah, but the media doesn't say that. Obviously, he's motivated, just like Kevin's talking about. Like, he's motivated. Like, just because he's motivated doesn't mean he has to win, like to please your needs. And the questions are always about like, are they going to win again? Are they? I just don't get caught up in that anymore. Because like, to be honest with you, in 30 years, I probably won't remember that Phil won this tournament. So it's, I don't know. That's just the way it is.
You won't remember. I mean, I think I'll always remember.
I can't. I couldn't remember. There's only one tournament I remember, and I didn't even watch it. And the only reason I remember is I have a signed flag from him, and that's the 97 Masters. And the only reason I really know about it is because being black and being on the PGA Tour, that's all they asked me is like, where were you? Well, I don't know. I didn't watch it. I was 7 years old. So that, when you're reminded of it, every time you get asked a question, it's easy to remember. But like, I can't tell you who won the 98 Masters. I can't tell you who won the 99 Masters. I mean, that's a pretty big tournament, I would say, right?
Yeah, no Marco Mero 98, Jose Murillo Thabo 99.
Yeah, exactly. Like I just don't care to know. That's not important to me. never has been. I just want to play there and experience it and have, my own story about it to be able to, I want to have a chance to win there. So like, I don't know. I just never really have been into like the history of the game because it's history. There's a future.
No, I get some people are wired where I'm a history nerd, so I find it fascinating. A lot of my career is dependent on me having that knowledge for the game.
Talk about it too every day.
For sure.
Like, I get tired of talking about it. Like
I get it. It's your office. I mean, I don't play a ton of golf these days just because I get burned out working at a golf course for my career. So there are stretches where I'm off.
Yeah,
I don't want to go play golf for 5-6 hours. And there are other stretches where if I go on a buddy's golf trip, I want to play.
That's different though.
6 rounds in 4 days or whatever.
Yeah, but those are.
I know like Brooks, who was in the final group, he's not a big history of the game guy. So it's not, if you ask him some golf nerd question like who won the 2002 Masters, I don't think he's going to know that off the top of his head. That was Tiger, by the way. What was?
Who is it?
How surprised were you when Phil said, "Hey, man, I would like to help you with a putting lesson"? Like,
I'm not surprised at all because I think the older guys are like keen to helping young. I mean, they're keen to helping younger guys, especially if they want help. And so I wasn't surprised. I was surprised that he didn't answer his phone the first time I called, and he had this voicemail of Jim Nantz on there. He's like, if you're trying to reach the blah, 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 all the years he won the Masters. Yeah. And I thought he did it on purpose. So what a wanker. So I thought that was pretty funny. He's like, hey, call me. So I call him, and he doesn't answer, and it goes to voicemail, and it plays that voicemail. And I was like, you did that on purpose. So I'm not.
That's so good.
I think I have 2 ears and one mouth for a reason. Even though I use my mouth a lot, I think you can listen, you can learn, and I've always been about that. I don't know everything, but I choose to ask every question I can. Sometimes get an answer, sometimes not.
Any funny Phil shit talking stories playing together?
Yeah. So I played him at the Wells Fargo, and I'm playing with him and Jason Day, and gosh, this one's good. I don't even know if I'm gonna get it right, but it's pretty funny. And Ray's caddying, and so he calls me that night after Thursday, and I'm putting, and he's like, you could be the first ever to shoot, whatever I'm at, and make the cut on the number. And I get to the next tee, I hit my ball. I'm like, so when he says that, I'm like, yeah, hell yeah, yeah, and we get to the next tee, and I'm walking off the fairway or walking off the tee box, and Ray goes, he's full of shit right now, right? I was like, what? And he's like, everything you just said was just to blow you up so you'd feel like you could make the cut. And I thought it was hilarious because, like, I thought he was for real, and Ray and Phil are like, get him going, So I thought it was pretty funny.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I don't know. I've had great experiences with Phil. We have the same financial advisor, so we have some friends in common. So it's really cool. I just thought it was funny when they asked, we just got in that question about how, which one's better. And as I was like driving home, I knew it was coming. It was only a matter of time. And I was just like, so I put a GIF up there with just a baby doing like this. Yeah, so it's pretty.
I saw that.
I don't do it to be funny. I just like responding. I love banter. I love that some people take it serious because they'll talk about it the rest of their lives, and I'll forget about that tweet.
Unless you remember it the next day. But it was a 24-hour window.
I mean, it's like 12 hours ago.
Just kidding. All right. Quick, and I heard this a couple of years ago, and I can't remember the tournament, but Phil was with the Pro-Am group. I happened to be milling around the tee box. You had walked by, and then they're like, oh, what's Harold Varner like? And it was neat to hear as your buddy, and I know Phil at a professional level, but he was saying, oh, Harold's one of the great personalities on tour, a really good guy. So it was neat to hear him with you not in the picture or around. I don't think he realized that I was even happened to hear this conversation, but him just saying very kind and positive things about you. And it's a guy that we both grew up watching play professional golf, and he's still out there.
Dude, it's nuts. He's won in 4 decades. I saw a tweet on there. I was just like, man, I haven't been alive 4 decades.
like to broadcast in 4 decades.
Yeah, I haven't won in a decade. I need to get my head on my ass.
Hey, European Tour.
Yeah. Oh,
You
yeah.
got that
counts.
dub. Come
That
on.
counts.
Come
I'm
on.
fired up. Don't worry.
Yeah, just I mean, that was one of those special moments in golf. You will likely forget. I'll always remember being on the call and getting
Yeah. See, you
to
actually
announce
got
the
to
winning
work.
putt.
The only thing I'm going to know is if someone comes up to me like, 10 years from now, they're going to be like, oh, you remember it was played at Kiawah? Like, yeah, I played in it. And then I'll be like, oh, shit, I think Phil won. But, like,
No one.
that one will be easy to remember.
Mm.
I just, man.
And for those who want to see the final group, ESPN Plus has it on their featured broadcast, so you can watch all 18 holes if you want to rewatch.
Are you
any
only
of Phil's
watching it by is it by the drone?
only? What do you mean by the drone?
That drone that follows the group. Something.
Phil's favorite. That
drone was massive.
Yeah. Is that weird playing with the drone flying around?
I'm literally telling you, when the wind's blowing that hard,
you can't hear anything.
Just like whatever.
Yeah.
The only one you see is the one over the putting green, the little one that rides the little rails in the driving range.
Well, Harold. The little, yeah.
That's the only one
up close and personal. So as a golfer, you always have to look left as a righty. Our next guest, all he does is look left as well. He's driving left. It's NASCAR driver Kevin Harvick. Took you a second there. Let's welcome in our next guest.
Took me a second. I don't even know if you were paying attention. I was like, shit.
You want to wake up feeling good every day? I mean, who doesn't? This product, I can personally attest, has had a huge shift in my day-to-day wellness. It's 2020 Immunity Booster, 2.5-ounce shot, handcrafted by sports dietitians, filled with essential vitamins and nutrients with none of the artificial colors or BS you see in sports drinks. I have it before I go to the range or start my round, or even just to kick off my day. Get 20% off your first order. Ripping It 20, the promo code. Go to drink2020.com.
For the first time on Rippin It, we are welcoming in Kevin Harvick, NASCAR driver, 2014 NASCAR Cup Series champ. Also, a big golf fan. So, Kevin, excited to have you join Rippin It. How are you doing this Tuesday?
I'm doing good. I appreciate you guys having me on the show. Obviously, we have some great ties to the golf world, and it's always fun to talk about things that I never know what's coming. So you guys are probably going to fire some unique questions at me today that I don't hear every day. So that's always refreshing from a media standpoint for sure.
That's great. So the question that we always start guests off with: the last time you touched a golf club was?
The last time I touched a golf club was about 4 weeks ago in Kiawah at the PGA Pro-Am that they had there. So I think I probably needed to touch the golf club a few more times before I actually teed it up there. So it was fun. We've actually spent a lot of time in Kiawah, so playing at the Ocean Course was I knew what I was getting into. I've seen some serious debacles there, and it was windy, so that made it even more of a disaster for me. So only thing I didn't have to dodge the waves this time to hit my ball on the back nine. So that was an accomplishment in itself.
Did you catch any of the PGA Championship over the weekend?
I did on Thursday and Friday. It was obviously, the ending was it was good for the old guys. I mean, I think that gives us all hope as we creep up in age. So it's always fun to see kind of those comeback stories. But and Harold may disagree with this, but from a spectator standpoint, I really enjoy watching you guys struggle. Because you guys make it look so easy, and when you have those even par, a couple under par type situations, it just I know it looks frustrating, but it's fun to watch the challenge that it puts you guys through.
Yeah, tell me about it. It was a great time to. I mean, it was so hard. I mean, I didn't get to watch the end because I was driving home, but I mean, it's funny we were talking about I was like, because obviously growing up in Gastonia, I follow a little bit of racing. I was like, man, this guy's been racing freaking forever, and so I was like, man, how old are you?
I'm 45. 45. So
45.
yeah, so this is I guess this would be I guess I'm in the middle of my 21st year. And for me it's something that I started doing when I was 5 or 6 years old, and people always ask, well, how soon did you really know that you wanted to be a race car driver? Well, when you're 12, 13, 14 years old, it's a pipe dream at that particular point, because you really have no idea what life is all about. But I was fortunate to grow up in a racing town in Bakersfield, California. You could take Bakersfield and take it from California and put it right into Mooresville, North Carolina, and fit right in with all the race shops. So yeah, I've been at it a while. And for me, our sport is a lot different than other sports, just because you're not so reliant on your body. I mean, you still have to be in good physical shape and do the things that you need to do to take care of yourself, because the grind is really what wears on you. And a lot of people, you understand this, but a lot of people that don't travel every week don't understand what the grind does to your life in general, and managing the things that you do, the places that you stay, the beds that you sleep in, the food that you eat is tough in itself. So I know that's way off subject from how long I've been doing this, but the grind is the thing that's the toughest to deal with, for sure.
That's what I find amazing about Phil, is like, he doesn't have to wake up and grind, and you're probably in the same boat. Like, what keeps you
H,
going?
how do you say that he doesn't have to wake up and grind?
No, I'm saying because he's successful. He doesn't.
But he said everything. But at this stage
He's done.
He's done
everything you can do in the racing world. I mean, successful career. And like Phil's like same boat. So I totally commend you guys. I don't know what I'd be doing at 50 or 45 with this. I would like to say, because I love playing golf, I love what I do, that I would still grind. But like, I see a lot of different aspects when people that are 38, 39 in the golf world that are like, I just want to be home and be with my kids. And I just know that isn't going to pay for your kids to go to school.
Yeah, and that's true, right? Yeah, you got to pay for your kids to go to school. So, and that's, with the agency side of things that we have, that's really the hardest thing to explain to the young kids, because, it's like you have everything that you want. You've worked your whole life to get there, and then you get there and you want to change how you grind. And that is the total opposite thing. It's what they have to figure out is how to grind and fit your lifestyle around it, because you can't figure out how to change your routine and still be as competitive as you are. You have to figure out ways to challenge yourself and motivate yourself and still do that same routine and enjoy all the things that you have. So that's the hardest part about trying to teach these young kids exactly what they need to do, because they think that once they get there, then they get all the money and then they get all the things that they want. You can have anything that you want. You can go anywhere that you want to go, but they forget how to practice and they forget how to grind. And that's a tough balance.
I totally agree. I had this guy, Sterling Sharp, who you may have run into a few times at pro-ams. And when I had to be, I guess, 27, 28, and he's really big about, like, he asked me, like, what do you want to do? I was like, I just want to take care of my parents, take care of my wife, just live, a normal life. And he basically said, it was crazy. I mean, obviously I think he grew up pretty poor, and he was like, protect your dream. Like, that's always been your thing, to be on the PGA Tour, protect it the best you can. And I think it helps to have unbelievable people, like yourself, that have, just been through those decisions where you're like, well, I want to go to my kid's birthday. How do you make that work? And that, I think that's just so hard to balance. I'm sure I can't wait to figure it out, but it takes unbelievable people around you as well.
Well, you'll learn that your kids are very motivating. My kids are very motivating, because there's nothing worse than walking back in the motorhome and saying, man, Dad, you suck today. And I'm like, what? Dad, what was wrong today? It's way more fun taking pictures with them in Victory Lane than it is walking in the door and having your 8-year-old tell you that you suck today. So for me, it's very motivating, because Keelan is my son is, he's got a little racing career of his own that he started over the past year, and now he kind of realizes that there's a lot that goes into it. There's a lot of work that you don't want to do. You have to exercise, and you don't want to do that. So he sees you doing all these all these things. And the next thing you know, you're thinking to yourself, well, now I'm the example. So to be the example to my son, who's wanting to do the exact same thing, I have to show up in the gym every day. I have to show up and be on time. I have to show up and eat the right foods. And you have to do all these things that you've been preaching because now he's watching. And, to me, that was very motivating. Making a change and switching teams 7 years ago, that was motivating in itself. But having kids, man, especially when they realize what you're doing and start commenting on the performance of how things are going, was very motivating for me.
That sounds like a best friend to me.
And it is, there's no filter. My wife is the same way. She's got no filter, and you can tell when she thinks you said something wrong or did something wrong. Well, you can't tell. You'll hear it because she'll just blurt it right out and tell you like it is. But aside from the newbies coming in and not understanding exactly what they need to do and how they need to balance that circle of life, you have to have honest people around you. And when you're not doing your job, you need somebody like I want people telling me all the time if they don't think I'm prepared, if they think I need to do something different, you tell me, because it's a constant adjustment of what you need to be doing, how you need to be doing it, and the world changes. And I don't think we've ever experienced it changing any more than it has changed in the last year and a half with COVID.
No kid.
But it's it can also be very beneficial. When we came back from to our first race last year, that's the best shape I've ever been in my whole life, because of the fact that when we came back, I knew the circumstances were going to be drastically different. We were going to race a lot, and I needed to be prepared, and it paid off in a big way. So, there's just you got to constantly find those ways to motivate yourself, and age is it's a number, and you can fall into the category of telling yourself I'm getting old, can't do this anymore. You can fall into the category it doesn't really matter, I'm more experienced, and in our world, experience has a price that goes with it, because it's so beneficial in today's environment with little amount of practice, being around race teams and doing this for a long time.
What would you say?
Go ahead.
What would you say is the kind of like equivalent for Phil to win a major at 50? The previous oldest had been 48. That just doesn't happen. I mean, it seemed like he had basically 1 foot in the golf grave, more or less, in the PGA Tour, and then is able to put together this amazing week. And he said a lot of it was his mental focus had been the issue, because physically training more, he can do a lot of the things that he did 10, 20 years ago. What's kind of the equivalent in NASCAR years? And then for you to get in great shape, what does that entail?
Yeah, I guess the equivalent for Phil, I think winning a major is obviously a really big deal in the golf world. And that would be equivalent to winning the Daytona 500 or one of the crown jewels here. The shape thing is it like that's a moving target, and I think that's a moving target and has different meaning for every individual. And I think it's really difficult to start if you're going to say, okay, I need to get in shape and I'm 40. It would be difficult to turn that around in a short amount of time, and be able to prolong that, because I think that starts well into the beginning of your career if you're going to have a long career and go about it correctly. So I think that the hardest thing for me, especially this time of year, is the heat. So inside the car, it's going to be 140 degrees. So dealing with that has always been something that I felt like we prepare for really well. So, really when we start June, all the workout equipment goes outside, and it becomes heat training. So we'll train at 2:00 in the afternoon. We'll run at 2:00 in the afternoon. We'll take the spin bike and be outside. All the exercises will be outside on the concrete. And, that's just, you have to train in your environment. And, I think that training really develops, differently as you go throughout the year. And for me, I wrestled in high school. So I have, a pretty good idea of where my body's at, when I need to rest, when I need to hydrate, and just being in tune with exactly where your body is and understanding if you actually need to rest today, or is today a day that you need to get on the bike and have a good recovery workout and do the things that it takes to, to get prepared for the next week. So, it just, it takes time. It's not something that I enjoy doing, to be honest with you. I don't like exercising. There's nothing about it that I enjoy. I'd rather do something totally different, but it's at least 3 days a week, and my go-kart is probably the best training tool that I have. So we'll take that out this week and ride it on Wednesday. And same thing, 2:00 in the afternoon, 93 degrees, 91, 92, 93 degrees this week. So, but there's no exercise that I can do that's like riding that go-kart, because it's just, it's your body holding you in, and it's great exercise, and it's a lot of fun. So that's my excuse to go ride it.
No, love it. Love it. Go ahead.
Real quick, sorry, H. I was going to say, our NASCAR drivers athletes. That's an ongoing debate for golfers with Harold.
Yeah. And I would tell people, like, for me, it doesn't really matter. Like, I can drive the car and I can stay in the car, and but I'm not getting out of the car and jumping hurdles and running fast, and I'm slow. I can't jump very high. I'm not athletic, but I can drive the car. So, people debate that all the time, and I'm like, who cares, right? Like, I don't care. It doesn't bother me. Like, I know I'm not an athlete, but I know I'm in good enough shape to,
Perform.
yeah. And look, you're gonna in the summertime, you're gonna sit in that car, and it's gonna be hot, and your heart rate, you're gonna sit in there and probably burn 3,000, 2,500 to 3,500 calories, depending on how many caution flags there are, and your heart's gonna sit there and beat probably anywhere from 140 to it's probably going to average about 146, 150, somewhere right in there, for 3.5 hours. So,
wow,
that's when I first, we did some stuff with Polar back in the day, and we started studying the heart rate, and I sent him my heart rate, and he told me I needed the guy that looked at the data. He said, you need to do that again. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, we don't have anything to compare that to except for a marathon runner. There's no way that it can be right. So I did it again, and it varied a little bit from the amount of caution flags that there were, so that your heart could come back down. But the first one that I sent him, I think it had 2 caution flags in a 3.5 hour period, and I burnt 3,200 calories and averaged like 152 beats a minute for 3.5 hours. And it's just different, right? So the things that we try to control, and really control what we do in making sure that during these summer workouts that you sit in that zone, right? So you want to be anywhere from 145 to 165, and we really concentrate on trying to keep that heart rate up, because that's the biggest thing that we fight, are the heat and high heart rate. So you have to train accordingly to do that, and it's real, but it's not trying to have bigger muscles and run faster and do all the things that it takes to do other sports. But there's a lot of people that couldn't sit in that car for 3.5 hours with a heart rate that high and survive and in the heat.
Do you think golfers are athletes? That's my thing.
Yeah, I mean,
no way. No way.
I think you guys are in the same boat that we are, right? You're not having to run fast. You're not having to jump high.
Hurdles. Literally just walk through sand dunes. That's it.
Yeah, but there's technique and things that go with that other people can't do, right? So
yeah, true. But athlete means you can run fast, you can jump high, you can dunk a ball.
Well, that's your definition.
I mean, if you type in athlete, it doesn't say swing a golf club. I tell you that.
Yeah, it doesn't say hold a steering wheel either.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty opinionated. I'm probably wrong, but I'm just telling you. Like I'm about to play.
Well, it says definition of an athlete: a person who is proficient in sports and other forms of physical exercise. I would say, to your point, if you're burning 3,200 calories, that would be a type of physical exercise. If you're walking 7 miles, Harold, that could be a form of physical exercise. So it's all up to your interpretation of how
at
you
a snail's pace. I'm literally going like this. Pew,
If you're on the clock,
well,
they're hurrying you along.
Harold, you could be one of those Olympic walkers. I mean, I don't know how
There
your form would be, but I'm
I'm
thinking that
No, I'm the slowest walker ever. Yeah, I mean, especially around Kiawah when the sand. I mean, it's like walking on a dune all day. It's like they gave all the cart paths to the to the spectators, and it was like an easy walk, and we just walk like on the side of hills, like sideways the whole time. I just take my time. There's no way. I mean, my grandmother would beat me. Yeah. So it's I don't know. It's my opinion, and people might change it one day. I think it'll change when I get older, when I have to do, I can't be having like Chick-fil-A like I had this morning. That'll change where I have to do things that actually I don't sacrifice anything. I work out, I stretch. I don't know. I think you have a talent. Like,
you don't make it the sacrifices that Phil has to make at 50, and because I heard some like Herculean Phil diet stories from the Ryder Cup, him eating 8 eggs and 6 pieces of bacon for breakfast when he was at your age, basically, Harold. And then the last 2 years, he's dropped 40 pounds and does a 36-hour fast every week. And it becomes different. So I can imagine, Kevin, at a latter stage of your career, it's a heightened awareness for what you have to do to make sure you're finely tuned.
Yeah, and you have to understand it, right? You have to understand when something's not right, and you got to say, okay, I need to fix this. And a lot of people think it's just your game. Whatever your game is, whether it's golf, racing, football, it's not just your game. It's your finances, your wife, your kids, your friends. If something's out of balance in that circle of life, and that's what I call it. And whether it's racing, my kids, my home life, financials, whatever it is, like if something's wrong, you need to fix it today. You don't need to let it drag to tomorrow, because if you let it drag to tomorrow, then it's going to become a problem. Right now it's just an inconvenience. But if you let it fester and you don't fix it, and you just say, I'll fix it tomorrow. No, today is when you need to fix it, because tomorrow you need to be doing something else, and you need to move forward, because it's there's a lot of things that go on in life in general. And 9 times out of 10, the things that affect professional athletes that drag them down, and you look at guys that get drugged down. It's not the things that happen at their event or around their event. It's the things that happen away from their event, and the things that they don't do that they did, and the things that are happening with the people that they're around, and the things that are happening in their life that they just let fester into being big problems, and then mentally they're done.
I mean, that second one, the wife, that's the one I know about. Whew, man.
Easy. You better watch it.
I called my wife fat in a joking manner while she's pregnant, and I'd love messing with my wife. That's my job, to keep it fun, light. I mean, she calls me fat all the time. We look alike right now, so it's even funnier. So the second one's just very important. I don't have any kids yet, but the kid thing, I think, becomes hard with you were talking earlier with the travel. I guess they grow up so fast, like you go away for 2 or 3 days and it's something new. That's the part I think that's going to really get me. I think
just take them.
Take them.
Just take them. Absolutely. Just figure it out around them. After you get through about the
you
first
tell
6
my
months.
wife that.
And let me tell you something else. I made this mistake. We went through the whole pregnancy with Delana, and when she was having Keelan, and so she had Keelan. I can't say we. She had Keelan, and I went to the racetrack the first weekend after she had Keelan, and she was at home. Everything was changing, crying babies, trying to figure out how to sleep at night. The first 6 months is tough. And I FaceTimed her while I was in the drive-thru getting a milkshake one day, and she lost her mind. So just remember, think about what you're doing. The jokes aren't near as funny when you do have to leave, and she is at home trying to figure out that first 6 months. Walk lightly, my friend.
I hear that. I will take that to,
Yeah.
I'll mess that up. I know I will.
So,
that's awesome.
Kevin, you're another Charlotte guy, correct?
Yes.
Greatest place in the world. Just go ahead and say it, George.
I saw, I mean, your backyard is basically the envy of any golfer anywhere, having a replica of the 12th at Augusta. How did that come together?
Yeah, so we moved to Charlotte, and we were kind of renovating the backyard, and we had this creek that kind of runs through the middle of the yard and had this ugly mound on the other side of it. And there's like, well, we can't really get the grass to grow over there. So I'm standing there, and we had just gone to Augusta, and I don't remember if we played or watched a golf tournament, but we had just gone to Augusta to do something. And I'm standing in the backyard one day, and I'm like, you know what? We should just put a golf hole over there. And the green at number 12 looks like it would fit. And I'm like, oh, we'll never get the grass to grow over there. I'm like, well, perfect. We'll just put synthetic grass over there, and then we'll just blow it off, and we'll never have to use it. So yeah, we built a little 50-yard hole that's kind of similar to what the 12th hole at Augusta looks like. And then this year we had a golf simulator at home too. So I have no excuse to not be decent at golf, but it's a struggle for me to find enough time to practice. I can tell you that for sure.
What got you in the golf?
I needed something to do that was not noisy, away from everybody. And that started in about 2008, right around there. Where, like my papa, back in the day, took me to the golf course for the first time when I was a kid. But I'd say 2008 was the first time that I actually started going to the golf course. We lived near the Sedgefield Country Club, and started spending a lot of time at the golf course, and really just going out and relaxing for 4 or 5 hours and hanging out with your buddies and getting your mind off of what you were doing during the week. So, the camaraderie is sometimes better than the golf, whether it be on the golf course or after you're done playing golf. So, for me, it's a good way to get away. And really, I enjoy the challenge of the game. And when I'm actually able to practice and go to the golf course and hit enough golf balls, it's, I thoroughly enjoy it. But for me, I'm so competitive that I don't want to go to the golf course and absolutely bomb it every time that I go out there to the left or to the right. So I have to have a whole bunch of reps in order to play well. And when I don't get that, it's a disaster. So, but I enjoy it, and I enjoy sports in general and watching other athletes. Should I call them athletes?
Yeah, you hear that, Harold?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't. Okay.
Were you watching the NBA playoffs last night? Then might have to change. I mean, there's a lot of flopping going on right now in the NBA playoffs.
I don't like flopping.
Oh my gosh,
it's the worst. Kevin, it's funny. Everyone we have on says golfers are athletes. We had a 2-time super middleweight world champ on a couple episodes ago. Golfers are athletes. A UFC former middleweight champ, he says golfers are athletes. So literally everyone except for Harold has said golfers are athletes.
And the coolest thing about America,
I'm with Harold. I'm with Harold. Like, I'm in the same boat, right? I'm going to agree with Harold, because I feel like NASCAR drivers are in the same boat. Like, it's great that a lot of these guys want to go out and, they're in great shape and riding their bike 100 miles and doing whatever that they do. But in the end, they aren't running fast. They might be able to run a marathon, or they might be able to compete in a triathlon or whatever it is, but they're not winning. And to me, I look at it, when I hear athlete, the only reason that we get included in the conversation of athlete is because we compete.
That's
right?
It.
Like,
that's it.
We're competing. And we can manage ourselves to compete at what we do, but I don't know. I don't see myself winning a marathon. So
how did you you shared how you got into the game of golf. I know you work with some golfers, which is a kind of a big entry point to not only work your way into the agency world, but then bridge the divide between NASCAR and golf. What was the intersection there?
Yeah, so it started a while ago, and that was with Jason Gore. So Jason Gore was kind of our introduction to the golf world, and for for us on the agency side of things at KHI Management, which KHI Management didn't really even exist at that time. It was purely an accident, and a lot of that had to do with Jason and Donald Cerrone on the UFC side of things, and they basically were like, well, why don't you just represent us and just do what you do with my scheduling, do everything like you do with your scheduling and the things that you do on your side of things. So we just put them in our system. We didn't hire any people. We just used the same people, the same system, and started down the road in different leagues. And so we really wanted to do something that was a lot different than the big agencies. We wanted to be more of a boutique agency that kind of gave you a menu of things to choose from, because not everybody likes NASCAR, not everybody likes golf, not everybody likes the UFC. So you have this menu of sorts that you can say, okay, Anheuser-Busch is a prime example. We have the Budweiser brand with Donald Cerrone. We have the Busch brand on my car and that I represent, and then we have Michelob Ultra in golf on a couple of the guys. So, it's great that you can come and be a part of something that has different athletes. I will use that lightly, but
true story.
I think when you have something that's different than all the big agencies, and you can have this interaction that's not really a part of your program, but not only can you go to golf, you can go to UFC, you can go to NASCAR. We haven't been able to do our foundation events and some of the events that we do that tie people together. We've took some to the PGA Pro-Am, but you start. My point here is you start mixing and matching these sponsors, and you start mingling them together at events that they're not a part of, and they start to enjoy the fact that they can go somewhere else and they can take a different clientele to a different style of event than just having one event that they're signed up for on the sponsorship side. And I think when you look at that, for me, I think we're really good at connecting the dots, and that's what I always tell people. You have to have a great network of people that you know, and anytime you shake a hand or you have a new conversation or you grab a new business card and you say, okay, well this company is a part of our family now. Well, you know what, over here they would probably enjoy going here. And you have to start connecting those dots. And next thing you know, this person moves from this company to that company, and you've got a new company that you're introduced to because you had a great relationship with this person in the things that you did while they were over here at company A. And so for years, I feel like we've done a great job of connecting the dots with people. We do things that are way outside of what we're supposed to do in the contract, because we don't even do contracts with the management company because of the fact that, it's better to have people that are happy and like what you do because of the fact that you're doing a good job, not because you have to stay here because you're under this contract. But, our sponsors enjoy the fact that they can go to events that they're not a part of. And we entertain them well, and we connect those dots so that the B2B side of things works for everybody.
Dang, that's awesome. Obviously, there's so many things that people like and don't like, and just what made you get into the agency world? I think it's a hard niche to get into. There's so many. This agency's so good, this guy's so good, and blah blah. But like to go try to tackle that area, yeah. I think it's very tough.
Yeah, and I think a lot of them just do a bad job, right? So having the view from the athlete side of the world is much different than the view from the agency side of the world that has no athlete, right?
Correct.
So I have things that I want a certain way, but that doesn't mean that James or Donald or Misha, they want to have things a certain way. But we adjust that system to say, okay, you don't want to talk every week, or you want to talk every week, or you like emails, or you like texts, or whatever that is. And sometimes it's all the little fringe benefits that come with just making their life easier, right? So, it's when you go to Vegas and you want to go to a particular restaurant, and it's not very hard to call the restaurant and say, hey, can we make a reservation? It's doing the little things. And a lot of times the big things are already done, right? Because you're a good golfer. You're going to get a club deal. You're going to get a shoe deal. You're going to get, you're going to have the deals that come with doing what you do because you're good, and you have to maintain those relationships and make those relationships good. But it's that circle of life that we talked about before, right? So, having somebody help you take care of the little problems and make sure that you're not affected by, your taxes being too high, or, not having your car at the airport. It's all those little things that add up as you go through the year. That one time you get out of the car or you get to the airport and you don't have a car and you're like, what in the world? And it flips you out. And next thing you know, your weekend started off wrong. So we really concentrate on the little things for the athlete to make sure that home is good, travel is good, all the little things that are bothering whatever those little things that bother each individual. But a lot of that comes with being organized and communication. So those are the things that we concentrate on from really focusing on the athlete himself.
Who do you guys work with from a golf standpoint?
Yeah, so we have we started with Jason Gore, and we have James, Han Lahari, Vaughn Taylor, and Chesson Hadley. So we've got a unique group of guys, and but that's what you have to have. You have to have a group of guys that are personable and able to and willing to go do things that are outside the box, right? Because and I would say, especially on the golf side of things are much different. Like in NASCAR, everything revolves around the sponsor because that's the only reason that the car goes around the racetrack. So, the hardest thing for us to find in golf was when you get done with your round, say, hey, you want to go do a meet and greet real quick with the 15 guys that are here from Group X from the sponsor, and you had a bad round. It's just different, right? In the NASCAR, on the NASCAR side of things, like, before the race, you're doing sponsor, meet and greets or whatever it is. And then you go race. And so it's constant. So they're at your car before the race, and, you get in the car 5 minutes before the race. And that's typically in the past, not in the COVID world, but typically in the past, that was your 5 minutes of time by yourself. Like, you're doing meet and greets and hospitalities and things before the race that come with that. So anyway, they're a great group of guys, very personable. We spend time together at the different events. I think as you look at just having people that want to help you connect those dots, and that's really what the sponsors look for in today's world. Are guys that are willing to have those conversations and willing to go outside of the box in what they've typically done in the past.
It's a unique thing. I mean, it's been a crazy year for all that stuff, though, in general, because you can't meet those needs, especially on on the golf side, because there's obviously no fans. So it's, I mean, I don't really know. How do y'all do y'all's stuff now, since I don't know the restrictions on the NASCAR side right now compared to in golf. It's starting to get, obviously yesterday there was no COVID. So it was awesome to see. I'm looking forward to stuff like that. That's how it should be. I think you should have choice. That's always been my thing. And you should be able to live. So
I agree. I agree. I think you should have a choice, and I'm ready for it to be over. I'm ready for it to let's just open this thing back up. And if you don't feel comfortable, don't come. That's really where I'm at. It's one of those things where I don't know what's right or wrong. I don't know about you guys. It's like every day I wake up and something's different. So, it was great to see all those people, on the 18th green, walking down that fairway. I did watch that on the airplane coming home.
It was wild.
Oh, it was great. As I looked at our crowd yesterday, all the parking lots were full. They were bussing people in. People are ready to come out, and for us being in sports and at events that need people, I think we're gonna highly benefit from people being cooped up for so long, and I'm ready to go out and put on a show for them, because I think it's quite an honor to be able to be a part of the healing process of getting this whole thing back to normal, and people are ready to come watch, and that's a good thing.
It's kind of scary though, only because like it's gonna be like one big party. You know, it's already a party before. You know what I mean? Now they're like, I'm out of the house now.
Yeah. Well, I think you just have to embrace the chaos, right? Like
I know, I love it. I love it.
And for me, it's a little bit weird. Like, you know, we've been in this for a year and a half now, and last year we went to Darlington. I won the first race back, and I got out of the car and I'm all jacked up, and it was dead silent. I'm like, man, this doesn't even feel right. I don't even know what to say. I didn't know what to say. Didn't know what to do. Didn't know where to go. They did the interview and they said, okay, drive the car to Victory Lane. I got to Victory Lane. I had none of my team. Couldn't celebrate with anybody. They took 3 pictures, handed me the trophy, and said, all right, just walk back to your bus and go home. And I'm like, okay. So
that's crazy.
Sad.
Now you've got people starting to come back, and for me it's a little bit strange because you're like, all right, do I sign this autograph? Do I not sign this autograph? Am I comfortable with this? Am I not? I am. I'm signing it, but it's still that awkward interaction with somebody as you come up to them as to what's the etiquette here. All right.
Yep.
I guess you're okay with it because I'm signing your autograph and you handed me your card, but I'm not really sure.
That must be age because you're actually thinking about it. I signed everything I possibly could. I mean,
yeah.
I just think the memories that kid or that person's going to have of you signing that is way more important than the other stuff. We'll just leave.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. And look, I'm way biased to the kids. Like as an adult, I find it a little bit weird signing autographs for fan frenzy adults. Like,
yeah,
I love the fans, but I don't understand. I just can't grasp the whole frenzy. You know, from the adult standpoint, the kids, I'm going to take them. I've taken them to my car. We've gone to driver intros together. I've taken people's kids and taken them with me on tours of the infield. So I love the kids and enjoy those interactions because you're right. Those are the things that that kids remember and want to be a part of your sport for a long time. When you can have those types of interactions. And it's kind of like my own kids. You want to set a good example, and the kids, the adults. No offense, but you guys are already set in your ways and things that you're going to do. The kids, we can help kind of push in a good direction.
Kevin, we're gonna just fire a few stream of consciousness questions as we wind it down, and I would love to hear what causes you're passionate about. So these will just be quick hitters, top of mind. Harold and myself will ping pong. I'll tee it up. We'll do a combo of like 2-3 golf questions and then 2-3 racing driving questions. So I'll start you off with a driving question. Last time you had to change your own flat tire?
Ooh, it's been a long time. So I don't even want to talk about this because I'm going to drive out of here and get a flat tire in the middle of the highway in the middle of rush hour. You know that, right? So knock on wood. The last one that I can remember, my dad used to send a friend of mine and myself off to drive the cars to the racetrack. So probably would have been about 1996. We blew a trailer tire at about 2 or 3 in the morning, and had to get the tire changed in the middle of the night, on the side of the highway.
You're like Cal Ripken. It's a 25-year streak as a civilian without a flat tire.
Yeah, I'm going to go get a flat. I'm going to go get a flat tire.
Please don't tweet that though.
Don't invoke my name.
No one will come on the show again. What's your favorite golf course?
Favorite golf course? Well, I'm embarrassed to say that my golf game is as bad as it is, and I've actually played at Augusta, but it's really hard to beat Augusta. Especially when they take you there and they move the tee boxes up and everything's perfectly manicured. And when I hit my shot way to the left off the first tee and it's in the middle of the perfect grass in the ninth fairway, and I can hit it back over the trees into the perfectly manicured pine needles, and who knows what the caddy's doing with the ball before I get there. So it's hard to beat Augusta. So that was a great experience.
I love how you're rubbing that in.
Yeah, one day, Harold. One day we'll get there.
I'm going to.
What's your low round?
Low round, I shot I shot 79 on the South course at Carmel probably 2 years ago. That's the only round
Nice.
I've ever shot in the 70s.
I mean, but to do it once, that's such a high bar for the recreational golfer. Like everyone remembers the first time they broke 80, if you've never broken 70.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I have no idea how that happened, and it would be far-fetched to happen today.
You can answer this in two ways: age or when you're going to stop. When's when you going to call it quits in driving?
Yeah, I think when it throws a kink into home life, probably. I think as Keelan's 8 now, and look, COVID changed a whole bunch of things because now he's homeschooled. They're here every day, so that part is school's much easier to manage now that we're in control of it at home. But I would tell you, I've got two more years on my contract, and then then we'll have to start having some serious conversations about what we're going to do after we get to about halfway through next year. So a lot of it is going to depend on just where home is at, from that aspect, and how the kids are doing. And that's really how we went through extending this contract into the next 2 years. 2 years ago, where we were at, I don't know that it'll have anything to do with age. I think it'll have more to do with the balance of my home life and where our kids are at.
And last one, fastest you've ever drove?
The fastest I've ever gone was at Michigan International Raceway, and it was actually at a test when they were trying to figure out some new aerodynamic packages, and we ran 221 miles an hour, and they waving a red flag, stop, way too fast. So yeah, 221.
Wow, that's wild.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I can't even wrap my head around how fast that must feel.
Well, I always tell people you never really realize how fast you're going until you hit something. So, like this week, I got hit. Yeah, I got hit this week, and I think I was going like 75 miles an hour, and I think Bubba was going like 130. It was in the rain. You couldn't see. The spotter said, check up. So I checked up a little bit. The guy behind me didn't check up, and he hit me in 130. They took the car, put it up. He drove all the way underneath it. So, yeah, I mean, things happen pretty quick.
I bet at that fast.
And as we wind it down here, what any causes or charitable endeavors that you'd like to share that you're passionate about?
Yeah, so we have the Kevin Harvick Foundation that we've really been concentrating on doing more work here at home in the Charlotte area. Last year, year before last, we actually renovated with the Cal Ripken Senior Foundation. We actually renovated the field behind the Boys and Girls Club. We're launching a program today called Side by Side with the Charlotte Police Department, and just trying to create some quality community interaction, and really just we're all about kids, and trying to make sure that the kids are exposed to having an outlet and having an opportunity to be able to do things that they might not otherwise have had the opportunity to do. We've had some great success with that program in my hometown in Bakersfield. Started with the wrestling program. The vice principal sent me a letter in the mail, and he said, hey, they're going to shut our wrestling program down. I'm passionate about our wrestling program at home, as I felt like wrestling was probably one of the best things I've ever done in my life. In my 4 years in high school, I had a great coach, great surroundings, and they were going to shut the wrestling team down over $1,200. And I said, well, we'll fix that. No problem. Here's the money. Tell me what you need for now. We sent them the money that they needed to go to the tournaments and keep the team alive. So we had a fundraiser in the quad. We raised $80,000. We put it into a trust that was only usable for the wrestling team. And from that point forward, we really concentrated on, we have a great coach now. We really concentrated on making sure that the kids had the opportunity to go do what they wanted to do. The kids don't have a quality opportunity because a lot of them won't come out for sports because they don't have shoes, they don't have the equipment that it takes. We've redone the golf team there. We have clubs, shoes, balls, all in inventory at the high school so that the kids can come out for the team. But the wrestling program is a great example because now we have over 100 kids in the wrestling program. We have kids that have left on college scholarships. They're ranked in the state. We have a year-round program that allows them to come to practice in the morning, practice after school, which means, they're just having quality interactions with a great group of people. And so now, the whole system is in place. They have everything that they need to let the kids come out that might not otherwise have had the opportunity. And, now we're in a program that has, 100 or so kids in it that are going away and being successful. And if they're on the wrestling team, they're at school and they're getting good grades because of the fact that you can't compete if you don't. So, those are the types of situations that we like. We set up the same thing with the Charlotte high school district here. And, we did that program with PGA Reach and we're able to supply golf clubs and golf balls and golf shoes and all the things that it takes to be a part of the golf program. And unfortunately, COVID kind of interrupted that, but that program is sitting there ready to launch and in the next school year. So always fun to help the kids.
That's awesome. Obviously, I always think that it comes down to access, and it's nice to see that it's the same. And I feel like in most sports, whether it's wrestling or golf, kids just don't have access.
Yeah, and the kids are embarrassed, right? They're embarrassed to say that they can't come out to play a sport because they don't have a pair of shoes. And that's what I tell people all the time. Look, you don't have to spend $1 million to go out and help your local kids. You can go and say, hey, I want to donate my time and being a quality leader for these kids. Or you can go to the school and say, hey, I want to buy 20 pairs of shoes for you to put in inventory so that, when you have a kid that feels like he can't come out for a sport, these kids in schools shouldn't feel like they can't come out for sports because they don't have the equipment. It's not a hard problem to solve. I feel like sometimes sports are the first thing that people want to cut. But, a lot of times some of these kids aren't coming to school fed, and sports gives them an opportunity to come to school early, exercise, eat, be in a quality environment, and then stay after school and be in that same quality environment and eat and travel and do things that they don't have the opportunity to do. But the last thing that we need I think sports is a great outlet. And the last thing we need is, kids not having the opportunity to come out for a sport and because of the fact that they can't buy a tennis racket or they can't buy a baseball glove or whatever the sport is, it makes me mad. I get so frustrated with the fact that, the kids aren't getting the opportunity that they deserve. And, giving them an opportunity to change the course of the path of their family by going out for sports and being able to go out for that sport also requires you to do good in school. And so if you're competing in that sport, you're getting good grades, and that means you're showing up for school. And so we've really tried to embrace the fact of having the equipment, having the quality of people around these kids, and it's working, and it works in the programs that we've done, and hopefully we can continue to do that, and we will continue to do that as we go forward.
That's phenomenal.
Kev, thank you so much for your time, brother.
Great chatting.
Good luck the rest of the year. I know at 45 it's a little longer than it usually is, but I know you're excited. I'll be watching. I keep up with it just because I see you guys every once in a while and see how you guys interact and stuff. And just go kick some ass. That's
the plan, man. Same to you. And I appreciate you guys having me on today. It was a good talk. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, enjoyed it as well.
I hear it all the time. George, you're living in Miami these days. You got to have some late nights and you wake up, you're not feeling too hot. Not true, and I'll tell you why. Tempo. Total game changer. Tempo supplements guarantee you're never going to miss a beat thanks to a formulation of natural ingredients and essential nutrients. 2 versions of Tempo, Hungover AF, which I've taken, natural hangover supplement, and coffee, a supplement for clarity and focus. Check out both at trytempo.co. That's trytempo.co. Find your rhythm with Tempo. Use promo code TEMPO for 15% off your order.
What an awesome guest. Kevin was just, super thoughtful old man that, still drives a car.
You
really
love saying
fast.
old man at 45. I can't wait till you're there and you're not going to feel so old.
Well, until I get there, damn it, I'm calling him old.
Age
great.
is just a number.
Yeah, that's what they say. We learned that yesterday. But
Yep.
I love how
30,
age is
brother.
the number, but it's the first thing they ask. Hey, how old are you? That's so funny. They're like, oh, I'm a he, she, they, and their. And they'll be like, is it a girl or boy? I'm like, what the hell? Why does it matter? Yeah, so same thing. I'm just super excited to, when we were listening to him, just how, thought out his life is. He's like, are these things got to be together? And he's obviously into a lot of things, which I try to be into a lot of things, but I can't. I know I can't do it. I've tried it. But for him to be successful and do it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I think for him to juggle driving, his family, an agency, and it's interesting to hear for Kevin or other successful people who are pushed and pulled in a lot of directions, having people that hold them accountable around him. And that he was saying was so important to him. And I can only imagine all the time commitments that he has to make. The only way for him to be able to do that is probably having that type of structure in his life.
Yeah, it's weird how he was so specific about his structure. He's like the finances, his wife, his kids. Some people want to just they put that in like a broad, at home life. He's like, no, this has got to be good.
Yep.
And people that pay attention to detail like that, I feel like either are really good with their time or they're just like going to it's going to go either way. They're either going to not be able to do it or they're going to be like so on top of it. And it was pretty cool to hear him talk about I know he has a partner that helps out with the agency and stuff like that and how he knows what's going on. Everyone, with my foundation, I know a lot what's going on in the foundation. That's like my baby. I'm very involved. I enjoy being a part of it. We have a call tomorrow and I just I'm going to get on it. That's important to me. How he is with the agency, I think that's he's way more into his agency than I am my foundation. I feel like I'm on top of my,
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool.
What replica hole would you have in your backyard if you got rid of the pool?
Oh, never played Augusta, but I'd design my own hole, replicate I don't know. I wouldn't replicate anything really. I would find a hole where I would build a hole so that we could have a really good time. We'll say that. We're trying to build. Yeah.
So Jim Nantz has the 7th at Pebble in his backyard. Harvick is 12th at Augusta. I would replicate
HV3's number 1.
I would replicate 16th at Phoenix Open.
Yeah, there you go. I just always have every time you go, you just grab something to play it in. Either jersey or something like.
Yeah. Have the music going.
That would be, man. All right, I'm stealing that from you.
Open bar. It's got to be the same tournament conditions though. I don't want Phoenix Open in October when there's no build out there.
So they supposedly AT&T was like that. Had a really good vibe. Harris English told me that. Said they have a hole. They kind of built a hole like that. Obviously, no one can replicate that. But
you say 18, Byron Nelson last week. Oh yeah. I forgot you didn't, or 2 weeks ago. I forgot you don't play that tournament. Yeah, I was working for Sky Sports. They actually had a pretty good build out on 16, 17, 18. So
got it. Yeah, Harris was, he brought it up. I was like, oh, how was it? Blah blah. And he's like, dude, it had a really good vibe. And I'm like. And when he says a really good vibe, we vibe on the same terms. So I was like, might need to check it out.
Caught your attention.
Yeah, exactly.
So how do you now unwind from an ass kicker of a week, then get ready for what? Cologne, like next 3 in a row, basically?
Yeah, I'm gonna play 3 in a row. Unfortunately, not gonna get into the British or the. I can get into the British. I think you got to finish. You got to be top 20 in FedEx after U.S. Open or after Travelers, not already in. So I'd have to, just play well. But won't play in the U.S. Open.
Well, aren't you going to play in sectional qualifier?
I'm not. No.
Why?
Because I'm playing 4 after that as well, and I'm just not going to.
But wouldn't you just skip a tournament if you got a chance to play in a major?
If it was that easy, I'd do that. It's not that easy because I have something to do at Travelers and something to do at Rocket Mortgage, and I said I was going to. It was going to work out really nice because I wasn't going to go to RBC, and then you would have 2 weeks off, or you'd have a week off, maybe, and then you would try to qualify, basically, and you'd have some time off, but I won't have any time off this summer if I don't, so that's what I'm doing.
Got it. It does sound like crazy to golf fans to hear skipping a sectional qualifier, but I get with your schedule.
It sounds so crazy to golf fans because they don't know. And the coolest part is I don't have to explain it to anyone. We're independent contractors.
For the most part.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. Good point. So it's an opportunity. Like, obviously I wish I was going to Torrey. I've played so well there. But it's our.
Was that part of it?
No, hell no, man. I'm a good golfer. I can play anywhere in the world. A straight ball of travel. No, that wasn't part of it at all. I just didn't want to play. I think I would get in. I'd play 8 in a row. Not happening. No, actually, I'd play 9 in a row.
I'm working 8 and 9, and I don't even have to hit a shot, and it's exhausting by the end of it. So
yeah.
I understand how road weary you get, and yeah, makes sense.
I think that something will happen where I'll be able to. It'll work out. It'll work out the way it's supposed to always.
That's the hope.
I'm playing well, so I think I'll be where I want to be when it's all done.
Nice. Well, you got this Memorial, and then I'll see you at Congaree. So
yeah,
it'll be
fun.
Circling up in a couple weeks. Well, H, enjoyed it, my man. Play well this week, and we'll circle up next week.
Sounds good, dog. I'm caught to my table.
Peace.
Yeah, peace.